If you have been overwhelmed trying to fix everything in your trading all at the same time, but at the same time fixing nothing at all, this episode is going to clarify everything for you. I'm going to call it out. There's an entire group of traders that are just addicted to journaling. They're addicted to journaling, but not improvement. Majority of your issues are due to a couple things. So it's like the 80-20 Pareto principle. If you focus on that 20%, you're going to be able to have much more impact, basically, on the output. How to actually improve as a trader. The big question everyone always asks, and it's such a valid one. If you have been overwhelmed trying to fix everything in your trading all at the same time, but at the same time fixing nothing at all, this episode is going to clarify everything for you. I mean, my goal is to show you how to lock in on one single thing, track it obsessively, and then finally see the progress that you've been wanting to and start actually making advances and start trading properly. This is kind of a process that I've made my own rendition of based off of the traders at S&B Capital that use this format of the daily report card. But, this is my rendition of it, and I think it's really, really valuable. It's something that I've used on myself, being a trader of 7+ years. It's something that I've used with 30+ students that I had. It's something that I advocate for fully, and I'm so excited to share it with you all today. So if you want to grab the template, it's completely for free. You can get it in the link in the description. Go down there, click, download it completely for free, and you'll be able to track your progress along the way as well and follow along. So I think the best way to start is by identifying the problem, right? What's the problem that causes the lack of progress or causes people to not be able to improve as a trader? Because right now, realistically, there's so much that you can do as a trader. There's so many resources, but guess what? A lot of people are stuck in the same position because there's so much information. They don't know what to do with it. They're trying to improve everything all at once. And that is the problem right there. We only have so much attention. And if you're trying to improve every single thing at the same time, what ends up happening is you improve nothing all at the same time. And so I've seen this with myself when I've been trying to improve my own trading at certain things and trying to do it all at the same time, having a bunch of different errors compounded. I've seen it with my group of 30+ students. I've seen it now, being the co-founder and CMO of FX Replay, seeing all of the inputs and seeing how traders act and how traders are. It's been really, really insightful, and kind of getting all this information and wanting to do something about it and wanting to help out. That's really my purpose here. I feel, and what I want to do is just give back and help out as much as I possibly can. And so that's what kind of came up with this process so far. But what I wanted to add is that the problem here is that people lack clarity, they lack focus, they're not focusing on the right thing, they're focusing on everything. And this is something I've seen, like I said, and the blame ends up getting put onto your psychology. Oh, I'm just psychologically inept, or something is going on with my psychology. I don't know, something, I need to fix it, it's a problem. And they try to brute force their way through. But the reality is in trading, that's just not how it works. You don't brute force, you don't overwork. Trading is about being strategic. It's like, the best way I can compare it to is like in business. At first, when we were first building FX Replay, I was involved in the day-to-day, trying to get everything done. And slowly now, as I'm getting into this new level and we're hiring more and there's more people part of the company, I'm moving into more of a strategic role. And that's what you are supposed to be right from the beginning with trading. You get your knowledge, but then you have to move into the strategic role and really focus on the one or two things that really drive an impact. And so this is why it's very, very important that you have one thing that you're focused on, so you don't focus on everything. And I'll tell you what, right now, I'm going to call it out. There's an entire group of traders that are just addicted to journaling. They're addicted to journaling, but not improvement. When you just write to write, it feels productive. It feels like, oh, I'm journaling all these different things. This is excellent, but it's disguised procrastination. That's what it is. There's no goal. There's no feedback loop. It's just this collection of data that you're never ever going to look at again. I know you've been there. I mean, this is what's frustrating. You're doing what you think is right. You're journaling, you're putting in effort, you're putting in hours trying to get things going. But the thing is you're just overwhelming yourself more. you start to see, hey, look at all of this information that I've collected, but it's not translating into anything. It's because you're not actually utilizing that data. And that's a key thing. And no one can articulate just how painful it is to be stuck in a loop where progress seems impossible and there's no clear way out of that loop. That is a really difficult place to be stuck in. But that's the whole goal of today, is to solve this problem and give you something that's actionable that you can do today, that you can start working on right now with very little effort. And you can start moving forward and getting out of that loop and kind of seeing improvements in your trading, seeing improvements in your systems and your processes, and hopefully from there being able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. That's the ultimate goal here. And so that's what I present to you guys here with the daily report card and my rendition of the daily report card. And so let's jump into exactly what it is. To be the most effective, you have to put all of your attention and focus on one thing. And through doing that, you achieve that one thing or improve that one thing. And then you can focus on the next thing and focus on the next thing. And what you'll notice is that majority of your issues are due to a couple things. So it's like the 80-20 Pareto principle, if you've ever heard of that, which basically says that if I were to have 10 shirts at my t-shirt store available, right? 20% of them would yield 80% of the results. Two of those shirts would yield 80% of the sales. So though if you focus on that 20%, you're going to be able to have much more impact basically on the output. And so this is exactly the idea of the report card. And this is backed up by plenty of studies. I mean, there was one that I was just reading by James Clear. He cited it in one of his blog posts, but he basically said that there was a study that told people to fill out this sentence basically that says, during the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of activity on X day at Y time in whatever place. Okay. And so what the researchers found was that people who filled out the sentence were actually 2 to 3 times more likely to actually achieve that behavior rather than the people, or compared to the people that didn't fill it out at all. But then not only that, they did a follow-up study and they compared that to people that set multiple goals or multiple things to do. And they found again that the people that just set one clear vision, clear sentence on what they wanted, they achieved that significantly more than the people that set multiple. So it goes back to the foundation and the philosophy of the report card is setting and focusing on one thing at the time. And this is kind of a key tenet that Mike Bellafiore, the owner and the person that is running SMB Capital, does in the daily report card. And so what they do, or the whole sequence of events, is basically a trader picks one goal for the week or month that's typically based off data, that's typically based off their actions or things that they know about themselves. Then they set a KPI or a key performance indicator. They set a metric that it allows them to score themselves on. So say, for example, they give themselves an A, a B, a C, a letter grade, or rank it 1 to 10 or a yes or no on just that one individual thing. And through that, they gain clarity, they gain focus. And not only that, but they set up these feedback loops, right? If something's not going properly, if something's not going well, I understand that immediately. I can grade myself and I can figure out systems on how to improve that right away. And I can focus on that until I have a system, until I have processes that actually solve that problem that might yield 80% of my problems, right? That might be a result of 80% of my problems. And so therefore I just solved majority of my issues by solving this one thing. So this is really, really key, guys. And I'm telling you, it's super, super helpful. And, when your brain starts to filter out based off of this new lens, right? This lens of what my goal is, it starts to filter out and starts to act in accordance with that. It has an amazing, amazing impact. In fact, I started working with one of the guys on our team. He's a trader and he wanted to have some accountability sessions with me. And so that's what we've been doing. And that's what we love to do at FX Replay, by the way. We are traders in here. And so we love to talk about trading and help traders and what can we do to improve the lives of traders. That's our whole goal. And so anyways, we were talking and one of the things that he said to me was that he's been closing trades out early. If he just stuck to his trades, if he looked at the data and he said, if I just stuck to my trades and let them run out, I would be significantly ahead from what I currently am now. So this is a major problem. Okay, perfect. Step one, identify that problem. Again, it can be based off data. It can just be based off knowing yourself. Like, hey, I'm a complete degenerate. I spam buys and sells all the time. Like, what do I do? Like, something's going on. Okay, now I can attack that thing individually and start working on that. Okay. And so after you identify your problem, the next step is really to ask yourself why. What is the source? What is the root cause of this problem? Where is it coming from? So we were talking about it, and he said, I'm closing too early. And I'm like, okay, well, why? Is it because you're afraid, or is it because you're you see the profit climbing, and then as soon as it starts retracing, you start to like get anxious and close it? And it was more about that other one, because he had multiple accounts, and at that time, right, you have multiple accounts, is that you start thinking about extrapolating, oh, how much profit that is, or how much things I'm losing here, so I close it out instead of following to the plan. You're outcome focused. And so that was really important to understand, because now we can put in rules or put in systems and SOPs, standard operating procedures, on how to deal with that certain thing and how to solve that. And also understand that when that feeling presents itself, we are aware of it. And awareness is the first step, right? If you're aware that, hey, I have that feeling again that I noted that is the root cause of all my problems. Okay, now I need to follow my SOP. I need to follow my procedure in order to avoid making those mistakes again. And so that's kind of the core details, how to fix it. And so what we did was, we understood that that was the issue, right? Understanding that, hey, I'm afraid to lose all that I gained, basically all that profit that I unrealized that I gained. I was afraid to lose it all. And so this is when we came up with the process to just say, okay, he didn't have a put my stop to break even. It was just literally like, I either hit the target or hit my stop loss. And so great, that's super easy. All we have to do is set an alert at where your target is or where your stop loss is, depending on whatever, or at a specific time. If you don't swing throughout the night, then you close it at a specific time. So you set 2 different alerts, or 3, depending if you want to set the stop loss one. And then that's it. You close your charts as soon as you enter the trade and you're done. That is a rule. You have to do that now, and we have to track that along the way. So that's a process. That's an exact standard operating procedure for when you execute a trade. Okay, so that's something that we came up with. And now the next step is really, and the final step is to set a KPI that is directly tied to the problem. Okay, so the major rule here with this KPI is keep it simple. And if you guys are unaware, again, a KPI is a key performance indicator. It's a metric that you can track that, again, is important, that directly ties to the problem that we're talking about. And so if we're thinking about a KPI, like what KPI could we track here that makes sense and that can help me stay accountable to my goal, and that I can track and make sure I'm doing properly and doing well? And so let's just say, for example, the successful management percentage, right? Maybe whatever you want to call it, but say successful management percentage, where you get the trades managed properly divided by the total number of trades. The goal that you should be targeting here is 100%. I should be managing my trades 100%, right? But obviously, you're human. You're human, you're going to mess up, and you have to give yourself a little bit of margin of error. So let's say 90%. Let's say your goal is 90% of the time, I want to make sure that I'm managing properly. If you exceed that goal and hit 100%, awesome, you're a killer, you're doing great. If not, then you need to work on it, right? You have to make sure that you're tracking. I'm only tracking managing this KPI. And so basically, this KPI is going to be that barometer of success. If your current processes aren't working to move this metric in the proper direction, well, then you have to think of new processes. Like if this didn't work with what we did with the getting off your computer, then something else would happen. But realistically, that should be that one action that heals all, right? It's either 100% or 0%, because ultimately there's no reason for you to be coming back on the computer until those alerts are set. So if you followed it to the T, it would have solved your problems. But this KPI would have let you know, hey, I didn't do it, or I didn't follow through. I'm moving in the wrong direction. So what other processes can I implement that are actually going to have an impact on this KPI? So very, very key here, guys. And I'm telling you, this right here alone changes everything. And so that's it basically for the daily report card. I mean, you can add whatever you want to it. You can add notes, you can add this, you can add that, but I urge you to really think about what is necessary, what is fundamental to extracting the information that you need to use to go forward, to make better decisions, not unnecessary information, right? So if we break it down again and we give you the practical takeaways of what I'm saying today is: one, you choose one behavior to improve this week, okay, or this month, whatever it is. Keep it simple. Do not make it crazy. You have a KPI that directly relates to that outcome. So, say, for example, like we said, tracking my trades or holding my trades to completion instead of like over managing. Okay, so then my KPI is going to be that success metric, right? That the managed success metric. Am I actually holding as a percentage of all the trades that I've taken? And that's going to be my KPI. Keep it simple, just one. Then we can build the processes to make sure that that actually is improving, right? Then you let it everything else slide. You don't worry about anything for 7 to 14 days, whatever, a month, until you have tracked this KPI fully and you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm good, right? I don't fall back into that habit. I've overcome that habit. I have these processes that are kind of pushing me away from doing any sort of bad mistakes or committing any sort of bad mistakes. And then that's it. And I would say, lastly, one of the best things that you can do is have a trading partner or an accountability buddy. I mean, this is just super crucial. I mean, this is a lonely journey in trading. And the more that you can kind of show and be with other people and go through that journey together, I think is incredibly important. And that's why in our Discord in FX Replay, we have literally tens of thousands of traders. Like, go in there. There's people there that are literally only focused on practice, that want to get better, that want to improve. And I mean, we obviously have the best backtesting tool in the game. We want to make it so that you're able to practice and able to improve before you actually go into the real markets. So there's so many people with that are like-minded in this group, and so go and join. We'll leave the link in the description there as well, and you'll be good to go there. So I would just end it off basically with this one last question, which is: what are you going to be working on going forward? What is that thing that you're going to be working on? What is the main KPI that you're going to be doing? Leave it in the chat. Leave it in the comments. Leave it wherever we post this, because it's important that you stay accountable to yourself. And by posting it there, everyone can see it that's going to be watching. And we can comment, we can keep updated with you. We can make sure that you're achieving those things and making sure that you're taking steps in the right direction. And again, like I said, there's a link in the description of the actual template for the daily report card. Again, this is not a big journal where you're entering 1,000,001 notes and there's this big list and you're taking screenshots. No, we have your KPI, your focus of the week, and where you are relative to that, and some notes on the side just to say, hey, why didn't I achieve this? Why did I? Okay, now on to the next week. And it's a tracker for the full year. So you don't have to do anything else. It's completely free. Go download it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.